it's also, it's also, of course, late. However, still, the workers of the Aam Aadmi Party are continuing to stream in to get as close to his residence as possible. Obviously, trying to protest there. Delhi police also pretty much in control of the situation currently. Let's hope, of course, things continue to remain peaceful. Let me go back to Rishabh before we go back to the politics of it all, Rishabh. As far as now the case and procedure ahead is concerned, what is the line of questioning that the ED is likely to have for Arvind Kejriwal in this particular matter? They've obviously been seeking to summon him for quite a while. Perhaps the line of questioning is ready. What is that likely to be ahead?
Okay, Uday, honestly, let's not kid ourselves. Regardless of what question the ED might want answered, are they going to trust every answer that Arvind Kejriwal or any accused has ever given them? So what they're going to question, what's he going to answer? I mean, he's going to say, I did nothing, and the ED is going to say, we have evidence of, so many other people, and this Mohindru and that Mohindru who has named you. So let's address for the people watching the telecast who have forgotten, what is the case? Okay, the case is that a liquor policy, alcohol selling, and for people, for perspective, the union government, in agreement with all the states, put almost everything under something called the goods and services tax. Except for two things, which is value-added tax on alcohol and, of course, on petroleum products. So, in terms of policies regarding these taxation rates and others and policies, the states still decide them and they get the revenue from these things directly. The value of revenue from alcohol sales in every single state that allows alcohol, which is not a prohibition state other than Gujarat and, of course, Bihar, is a significant proportions of the taxation of that state. So 2021-22, a liquor policy is brought in Delhi, which is supposed to be different from before. The allegation is that in this liquor policy, there were agents in between who were promising the Aam Aadmi Party 100 crore rupees to give favorite terms. In fact, honestly, according to the Enforcement Directorate charges, make the policy on the terms and conditions being run by these middlemen. That BRS leader K. Kavita, there are also being mentions of others were beneficiaries of this. Some were indeed the people indeed paying the kickbacks. And in this entire procedural, the Enforcement Directorate is primarily relying on the people that they have arrested, who they say in their claims as witnesses, as co-accused, have suggested that Arvind Kejriwal is a conspirator in this case, that none of this happened without his knowledge, that he knew what was going on, he was party to the decisions on the policy were being made under his instructions, and this quote-unquote South lobby that was operating, that these people were in touch with him, that people like Vijay Nair were indeed visiting his office, that they were sitting with Satyendra Jain and other senior leaders like Manish Sisodia, and all the directions that were being given by Arvind Kejriwal himself as Chief Minister on this policy. Now, was there something wrong with the policy? We don't know, but what we do know is that once there was some smoke that started emanating, the Aam Aadmi Party's government under Arvind Kejriwal scrapped that policy. They said, we're going to revert back to the policy as existed because there was a loss to revenue. Now, the ED case right now, in which this investigation is going on, is not primarily about loss of revenue. This is about graft. It's about 100 crore allegation of monies being promised in order to have a favorable policy. Now, whether the ED has prima facie established the money trail, whether they're relying simply only on witnesses. In witness cases, is my word against yours, or is 5 people word against 5 of us? Whether it's primarily witness driven, primarily evidence driven, money trail, whether they found the money, whether they've gone to the residence of these people and found wads of cash. We've not seen that, but I'm assuming that the Enforcement Directorate is now convinced, because I don't think they took this decision lightly. This would have been a considered decision. For God's sake, they've sent 9 summons before they've taken a decision. So this is a well-considered decision. but let's treat it for what it is. It is an arrest. There is a difference between an arrest and a conviction, and our track record of convictions in this country of political leaders, whether they are accused of corruption or even they are far worse crimes that a lot of politicians are accused of, our conviction track record is poor. It's not the best. It takes weeks, months, years. And as much as we like to discuss only the case, that this is what happened, these are the charges, these are the accused, this is the legal process, there's no denying that we are in political season. Now it is up to, the ball is in the court of the Aam Aadmi Party. The legal ball is in there. The ED has made its move. Okay. For all the people who think that the BJP did this and the BJP is, behind all of this, I've been repeating this for the past 1 hour. I cannot fathom a political benefit from the BJP right now by energizing the cadres of the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi. Okay. I can't see a political benefit. Maybe, may not be, you're free to have your own opinion. I can't see a political benefit for the BJP. Okay. I don't think the BJP is sitting there and calling the shots and saying, okay, go and arrest Arvind Kejriwal this evening at 9:33 p.m. Both on a practical basis and from a political consideration. So the ED has had to make a considered move. They've waited long enough and they've made a move. So the ED has made its move. Now both legally and politically is on the Aam Aadmi Party. The Aam Aadmi Party has to now decide, are they going to come out on the streets? Can they mobilize enough numbers to come out on the streets? Can they come out and make a political movement out of this? Yes or no? All right. Other political parties are now in a very complexly awkward situation. The Congress in Delhi for sure is in a complexly awkward situation. If you don't come out and support Arvind Kejriwal, okay, after morning, evening, night saying the ED, our bank account, this, that, okay, that means there's no political unity. Okay. If you do come out and support Arvind Kejriwal, he's the person you hate the most because he's the one who destroyed your party in Delhi. Okay. It's not the BJP who destroyed the Congress in Delhi. It's not the BJP who destroyed the Congress in Punjab. It was the Aam Aadmi Party that destroyed the Congress in both these places. So all of these people will have to make very important decisions. Simply tweeting Uday ain't going to hack it.
Absolutely. These are visuals now coming from Arvind Kejriwal's residence. It seems that the ED team is now leaving, perhaps with Arvind Kejriwal in their custody. There is a lot of movement there. Now the police has cleared the entire road and that area. Remember, that is the gate where Arvind Kejriwal is likely to leave from his residence in the ED's custody from. And ED team, of course, has been at his residence for the last 3.5 hours or so. They arrived just around 7 p.m. this evening. Reportedly, of course, about an hour and a half or 2 hours after that, they read out the grounds of his arrest and they made that formal arrest. They have, of course, been inside with Arvind Kejriwal right now. But now, any moment, the team could be leaving from Arvind Kejriwal's residence. As you can see there, the barriers have been put in place. The Delhi police has sanitized that entire area. A lot of protesters, of course, were sloganeering there. They have been moved away now. And from that gate itself, we're expecting Arvind Kejriwal to leave any moment now. He's likely to be taken to the ED headquarters first, perhaps in, particularly in high-profile cases.
What I'm finding fascinating right now is that, remember, the Delhi police and the Aam Aadmi Party aren't friends either, okay? They have a long basis of friction because half of the political battle before this in Delhi, before Liquorgate and before all of that, was about who controls the Delhi police amongst one of them. You've seen Aam Aadmi Party leaders come out and trash the Delhi police very recently. But outside, the good news for the people of Delhi is that the situation is under control, which is how it should be. Okay, it should be under control, both for supporters of the Aam Aadmi Party and Kejriwal. They know there's a legal process that is available to them. So that's the good news over there. Now, I don't know, and what I'm very curious about is Arvind Kejriwal still being able to communicate with his deputies, co-captains, or is that communication shut down? Which means that Atishi, Saurabh Bhardwaj and others are having to make judgment calls themselves.
Yes, they claim they were trying to reach out to him earlier in the evening, but his phones were all switched off and unreachable. They're presuming ED has taken away the phones.
From the point of the arrest, so obviously then he can't have his phone and be making phone calls, right? But who was present at the point of the arrest, if any, and what his last instructions were? Were his last instructions to them that, this is a legal issue, let's deal with it legally, okay? Or was a consideration being done that this has to be a political issue as well, and we have to deal with it politically also. We don't know. So I'm very curious what that was, what that last instruction was, if indeed there was, when he can communicate. It's not like he'll be incommunicado with them forever, but it might be for a few hours. So The fact that it is all quiet outside Arvind Kejriwal's residence right now, is it primarily because the Aam Aadmi Party is not decided what they're going to do on the political realm? They are holding back, or they are unable to rally large numbers of protesters outside Arvind Kejriwal's residence, or they don't. Most people who are their supporters will say, of course they can. They're choosing not to. They're choosing discretion as the better part of valor. That's the political front. There is no valor to be had here on the legal front. That is about technicalities and filing and whether it goes back to trial court or not. So what you're saying out, I don't know whether this is it. Okay. And now simply the battle goes on in the courts. At some point of time, Arvind Kejriwal's bail hearing is heard. At some point of time, he may or may not get the bail. Or is this the calm before the storm? But I see a lot of awkwardness for the opposition parties. I see a lot of awkwardness, confusion. Remember the Congress party, when the Delhi ordinance was coming out and the Aam Aadmi Party was going around town asking for support against the ordinance, the Congress played really hard to get. Really hard to get. In opposing the Delhi ordinance. So awkward moments, litmus tests, loyalty tests for a lot of people happening today. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a difference between a sitting chief minister being arrested in the national capital, who's a leader of what it is, a popular political party, at this point of time. So a lot of curiosity in what happens now. I think for the moment things are hanging fire. For the people of Delhi, let's hope it's a quieter night. I don't know what the Aam Aadmi Party is up to next, but the ball is now in the Aam Aadmi Party's court today.
Absolutely. Arvind Kejriwal are likely to be taken from his residence any moment now. He's likely to go to the ED headquarters in high-profile cases. Normally, the medical team of doctors comes to the headquarters itself, which obviously, erases the hassle of going to hospital, particularly with high-profile accused like Arvind Kejriwal now. Let's quickly go back across to Himanshu Bhatt, who of course continues to be with us as well. Himanshu, remains to be seen how the Aam Aadmi Party is now going to play this up politically. We're learning Bhagwant Mann has rushed to Delhi. He's the Punjab Chief Minister. The team up in a huddle currently. Their legal team, of course, on its way to the registrar's residence. Meanwhile, the team up still, deliberating on how this will be taken forward politically. Remember, it is election season. The Aam Aadmi Party is, of course, contesting in Delhi on 4 out of 7 seats. They're contesting in all the Punjab seats. They're also fancying their chances in other states like Haryana. How will they, play this out politically is something we're going to have to wait and watch out for. Isn't it, Himanshu?
Yes, we'll have to watch out for that. And
and even as we speak, interestingly, more and more leaders now speaking out. Rahul Gandhi has also put out a tweet, and so has Derek O'Brien of the TMC.
No. See, Uday, the problem is, they are all putting out tweets. They will all put out tweets. Tweets will keep on coming. But how many of them will come out on road and support it? And that's where the litmus test is going to be.
Okay, it's quite interesting now. Okay, yes. Let's listen in to Arvinder Singh Lovely. He's also reached the Delhi Congress president, actually reaching on ground. Subhash Chopra, former president, also there.
सोरेन जी को उठाया जाता है। आज दिल्ली के अंदर भी टाइमिंग देखिए आप, किस टाइमिंग के ऊपर जो है वो एक्शन लिया जा रहा है जब चुनाव शुरू हो गए हैं। तो निश्चित रूप से लोकतंत्र के लिए एजेंसीज का मिसयूज जो है वो शर्मनाक है। और हम ये कहना चाहते हैं कि इस तरीके की हरकतों से, चाहे वो कांग्रेस के अकाउंट सीज करने की बात रही हो या जो है इस तरीके से एक चुने हुए मुख्यमंत्री को चुनाव से पहले गिरफ्तार करने की बात रही हो, कांग्रेस पार्टी इन सब बातों से घबराती नहीं है और इन बातों की वजह से हम और मजबूती के साथ चुनाव लड़ेंगे। और आप पार्टी हमारी गठबंधन की पार्टनर है, हम मजबूती के साथ उनके साथ खड़े हैं और उनके साथ मिलकर चुनाव लड़ेंगे। ये जताने के लिए आज सुभाष चोपड़ा जी, संदीप दीक्षित जी, हम तीनों कांग्रेस की तरफ से आए हैं और निश्चित रूप से हम मजबूती के साथ अपने गठबंधन के साथी के साथ खड़े हैं।
And of course, the current Delhi Congress President Arvinder Singh Lovely have reached Arvind Kejriwal's residence as well. They say they are there for solidarity for the arrested Chief Minister currently, and they are standing steadfastly with their ally in Delhi, the Aam Aadmi Party. So interestingly, the Congress now, Rishabh, we were just discussing this, walking the talk, actually going on ground now.
No, very interesting with this. So now, okay, we were just discussing this. You were just discussing with Himanshu ji also. Okay, so Arvind Lovely, I promise you, they've had to, take a deep breath and take a deep swallow, okay, and say, okay, we are going to go, we're going to show up. Now, but as Himanshu ji was pointing out, you put out a tweet, now you come out and give a sound bite. Okay, you are in principle opposing this. Okay, in principle opposing this versus mobilizing in favor of. Okay, if a mobilization happens of the Congress cadres along with the Aam Aadmi parties, you will along with the Aam Aadmi cadres tomorrow, and I don't know what discussions are going on. There might be discussions going on, there might be nothing. Okay, but if a mobilization happens, it will be unprecedented. Okay, we won't have seen this kind of opposition unity ever before, because they all come together when it's convenient, but secretly they all hate each other and are probably happy if the other one gets wiped out or at least gets damaged. So this is a major litmus test going on the political front. On the legal front, it is all procedural. Okay. Now what happens in the Supreme Court when this goes is all critical. Let's listen to Sandeep Dixit for a second.
हैं, बातचीत करते हैं, उसके बाद आप करें। इसका क्या ये कोई तरीका है कि रात को 1 बजे 2 बजे आप किसी के यहाँ जाके गिरफ्तारी करें? और जो पिछले कुछ समय से हम लोग देख रहे हैं, चाहे हमारे अकाउंट्स को फ्रीज करने की बात हो, हेमंत सोरेन के अरेस्ट की बात हो, केजरीवाल जी के अरेस्ट करने की बात हो, ये ईडी इसको केवल चुनाव के साथ जोड़ रहा है, इसका और कोई लेना देना नहीं है। और इस बात को हम कंडेम करते हैं, इसकी हम घोर निंदा करते हैं। एजेंसियों का इस तरीके से मोदी सरकार का दुरुपयोग करना अपने में सरासर गलत है, गैर लोकतांत्रिक है।
इन दोनों मामलों पे, चाहे फ्रीज वाली बात करें या इस पर, क्या स्टैंड रहने वाला है आगे? अगर आप
देखिए, कोर्ट ही जा सकते हैं। ये थोड़ी है भाई कि आप किसी भी लोकतांत्रिक पार्टी का चुनाव के पहले गला थोड़ी घोंट सकते हैं। आप चुनाव लड़िए, आपको लगता है आपको केस करना है, केस करिए, लेकिन ये कोई तौर तरीका थोड़ी होता है। और मुझे बताइए, मैंने बहुत से रेड देखे हैं, कहीं रात को रेड पड़ती है क्या? आप आइए, सवेरे करिए, जो कुछ करना करिए। आप बुला लेते हैं इनको बातचीत के लिए, इन्वेस्टिगेशन करना था कर लेते हैं। ये कोई बात होती है कि रात को 9-10 बजे? अच्छा, रात को 9 बजे और सवेरे 9 बजे के बीच में क्या पहाड़ टूट जाएगा? आप बुलाइए उनको, आप उनसे बातचीत करिए। इसकी कांग्रेस पार्टी निंदा करती है और इसीलिए हम सॉलिडारिटी दिखाने यहाँ आए हैं।
संदीप जी, हम इस देश के संविधान की लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं और हम इस देश के संविधान को बचाने के लिए लड़ाई लड़ते रहेंगे। लोकसभा चुनाव के जस्ट पहले, चुनाव की घोषणा होने के बाद इस प्रकार से दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी को गिरफ्तार करना सिर्फ एक चीज दिखाता है कि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी अरविंद केजरीवाल जी से डरते हैं। वो लोकतंत्र को खत्म करना चाहते हैं। वो एक एक करके सभी विपक्ष के नेताओं को जेल में डालना चाहते हैं। ये क्या तरीका है? ये चुनाव जीतने का, लड़ने का, जीतने का क्या तरीका है? इस देश में क्या लोकतंत्र बचेगा अगर चुनाव से पहले आप विपक्ष के हर नेता को जेल में डाल दोगे? आप विपक्ष की हर पार्टी का बैंक अकाउंट फ्रीज कर दोगे? तो ये सिर्फ और सिर्फ प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की एक राजनीतिक साजिश है।
पॉलिटिकल फाइट में कांग्रेस कैसे आम आदमी पार्टी का साथ देगी?
देखिए, हम लोग इंडिया अलायंस के गठबंधन के पार्टनर हैं और सवाल कांग्रेस का आप पार्टी को सपोर्ट करने का नहीं है। सवाल ये है कि ये देश का लोकतंत्र जा किधर रहा है। प्रश्न ये उठता है कि चुनाव डिक्लेयर होने के बाद जिस तरीके से आप इंडिया गठबंधन के लोगों को, विपक्ष के लोगों को चुनाव से पहले उनके खिलाफ एक्शन लग रहे हैं, आप दिल्ली के चीफ मिनिस्टर को गिरफ्तार कर रहे हैं, आप हमारी पार्टी के अकाउंट सीज कर रहे हैं, हेमंत सोरेन जी को उठा रहे हैं, तो आप जो है ये किस तरीके का लोकतंत्र है? हमारा लोकतंत्र जा किस दिशा में रहा है? ये सवाल खाली कांग्रेस और आप पार्टी की नहीं है। कांग्रेस तो मजबूती के साथ अपने गठबंधन पार्टनर के साथ खड़ी है। प्रश्न आज देश के लोगों के सामने है कि इस लोकतंत्र को किस तरफ जाते हुए देश के लोग देखना चाहते हैं।
कांग्रेस शीर्ष नेतृत्व का क्या संदेश मिला है?
देखिए, निश्चित तौर पे हम मजबूती के साथ इंडिया गठबंधन के अपने पार्टनर के साथ खड़े हैं और कांग्रेस ऐसे एक्शनों से भारतीय जनता पार्टी को कहना चाहती है कि डरने वाली नहीं है। हम पहले से भी ज़्यादा मजबूती के साथ दिल्ली के अंदर और देश के अंदर अपने गठबंधन पार्टनर्स के साथ चुनाव लड़ेंगे और इस लड़ाई को भी लड़ेंगे।
ठीक है जी, थैंक यू।
Joint press conference, Arvind Singh Lovely and Atishi Rishabh. Meanwhile, also Sitaram Yechuri, Sharad Pawar, Akhilesh Yadav are the latest to put out statements on social media.
Yeah, so that's obvious, right? I mean, come on, that's going to happen, right? So now the BJP is going to sit this one out. Okay, they should be sitting this one out. This has to be, from the BJP's point of view, I said there's a legal conversation and a political conversation. The legal conversation is for the enforcement directorate to take forward. And before this happened, now what you have seen is nothing short of a small miracle. Okay, you've seen Arvinder, lovely, okay, the DPCC chief, and Atishi Marlina, okay, or Atishi Singh now, standing there together and doing a press conference. They are not fans of each other, they are not friends of each other. Okay. Now, whether this is just tokenism that they've come, okay, we had to come and we had to share in your sorrow, okay, and tomorrow we are going, okay, chalo ji, Arvind Kejriwal cleared, how do we now go and win greater seat share in Delhi because our road is also clear. Whether that temptation is going to be there for the Congress or whether this is going to be mobilization. All of these people said the same thing for Hemant Soren, okay, who came out on the streets and protested? No one, okay, and that's a reality check. So, the fascinating part of this is now what happens on the legal realm is now what happens. If this go to court, will the court only treat this as a clinical matter? Clinical matter is that you're applying for bail, go to the trial court, apply for bail. If you don't get the redressal which you desire, you can always come back to us at a later date, but follow the procedure. Or does the Supreme Court in principle look beyond just the case and buy into the argument, which I'm sure is going to be argued by the luminaries, many of whom of course are in politics themselves, who will be before the court, and they'll be saying, look, this is not an issue of whether the ED has got a case or doesn't have the case. This is an issue about electoral politics in the country, and can a sitting chief minister be arrested after elections have been announced, and is that an infringement of democratic rights to go out and campaign and win? Okay. Now, I don't know of any precedent in or statute available that says that I, as a political leader, cannot be arrested once elections are announced. There's no statute that exists like that. Okay. So, this is up to the interpretation of the court whether to buy the argument or not. Now, can you reasonably come out and say that, oh, the courts are also being influenced by the center? Absolutely not. I mean, you just saw with the electoral bonds case. Okay, I think the Supreme Court was very critical of the ruling establishment, and the lawyers arguing on behalf of the government, on behalf of the SBI even, and a very strong position was being taken. So, but something fascinating is taking place. The only question that matters to us right now is, for people out there, how are you viewing it? Are you viewing it that, listen, this is really suspicious? The ED would not arrest this man knowing full well that this will become a political issue unless they were absolutely convinced that they've got him nailed. Or the ED has jumped the gun, they've gone and arrested this guy, and this is all politics, and this is actually trying to destabilize and prevent him from campaigning. It's going to be fascinating how this plays out. And in the end, the only thing that matters doesn't make a difference what you think or I think. The only thing that matters is, does it politically affect the people who are watching this and are making their minds on who they think is doing right and wrong in the country right now?
Himanshu Bhatt, yes, you wanted to comment. Please go ahead.
Yes, the same thing I was about to say in the different words. It's for the people, those people who are going to vote. And more so, I'm not just putting it, I'm putting it, differently. What we are talking right now is a Lok Sabha election. And it has a national ramification. Had this been the elections of Delhi Vidhan Sabha or MCD, things would have been a little different. But when you look at the wholesale state, you are having all these opposition leaders coming out with a tweet. But as Tusab said, I was also saying the same thing. Putting out a tweet is one thing, and actually going out on the road and showing it that we oppose this is something else. Whether they're going to get together and stage a demonstration or something, it's going to go a long way to determine, how people are viewing. And then, for a commoner, when you talk of it. See, had that been a local election, had that been a Vidhan Sabha election, assembly election, probably Delhi voter would have seen a different way. But when this is the Lok Sabha and the entire country's future comes into way, here we must remember one thing, that, what Kejriwal matters for let's say, a Yugi Bhatti in a Delhi does not matter for some voter in Kerala or some voter in Karnataka or Gujarat or Maharashtra. I'm sorry to say this, but that's a fact. He doesn't have that reach still to affect a voter who is sitting somewhere in the other part of the country. Whereas he's a localized leader who has attained a national status recently. So he's not reached everywhere. He might want to think it that way. And probably that's why, when they are talking of big things, that they will earn so much of sympathy and this and that and all. I don't foresee that coming out across the nation. Maybe they'll be able to choke up Delhi. They'll be able to have that effect in Delhi, that's all. But Delhi has only 7 seats out of 543. If you look at politically, you have to think it that way. And whether this action, whether the people of the country really think that Kejriwal is innocent, and that's why he should get justice, he should get sympathy. I don't think so. People of the country think that way. Well, as Rushabh said, we'll have to wait. We can't jump the gun for anything. We'll have to wait for people to react. But the way I look at it is, yes, he's a sitting chief minister of Delhi. That's all right. But that does not mean that he is everything about the law.
Okay, let me we have another guest joining us now. I'm being told, but before that, we're getting reactions coming in. Let's go across. Somnath Bharti speaking right now.
कि देश का लोकतंत्र खतरे में है, देश का संविधान खतरे में है। इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया एक चीज होती है, ये चीज की ड्यूटी है कि हम इलेक्शन को फ्री एंड फेयर करवाएं। लेकिन इलेक्शन कमीशन जो है इस वक्त चुनाव आयोग नहीं है, वो मोदी आयोग है, क्योंकि जो सिलेक्शन कमेटी था उसमें 3 आदमी और 2 आदमी तो यही हैं। तो जो कुछ भी ये कहेगा वो तोते की तरह उसका पालन करेगा। इलेक्शन कमीशन अगर फ्री एंड फेयर सिलेक्शन कराना चाहता है तो उसकी ड्यूटी है कि वो इंश्योर करे कि पॉलिटिकल अपोनेंट्स के लीडर्स को अरेस्ट ना किया जाए, इस प्रकार से हरास ना किया जाए, उनके बैंक अकाउंट्स को फ्रीज ना किया जाए। हो क्या रहा है, जब अगर आप बैंक अकाउंट्स फ्रीज कर देंगे, लीडर्स को अरेस्ट कर लेंगे, तो इलेक्शन कहाँ होगा, क्या फ्री एंड फेयर इलेक्शन होगा। तो मुझे लग रहा है इस वक्त हम सबको मिल के पूरा हिंदुस्तान को आगे आना पड़ेगा और इंश्योर करना पड़ेगा कि भाई अगर देश बचाना है, अगर संविधान बचाना है, तो हम सब एक साथ होकर के इस डिक्टेटरशिप के खिलाफ खड़े हों, नहीं तो देश बचने वाला नहीं है।
सर, आज रात में ही कोर्ट में प्ले लगाएंगे।
हम लोग मूव कर चुके हैं, अर्जेंट हियरिंग की डिमांड कर रहे हैं। अर्जेंट हियरिंग होनी चाहिए। सुप्रीम कोर्ट का दायित्व है कि जब इस प्रकार संवैधानिक क्राइसिस देश में हो तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट देश को बचाने के लिए आगे आए।
आम आदमी पार्टी के नेता सोमनाथ भारती इस वक्त हमारे साथ हैं, सीधे उनसे बात करते हैं। सोमनाथ जी, आपके नेता को
So clearly Somnath Bharti, of course, is going to be contesting the elections now on an Aam Aadmi Party ticket from New Delhi, speaking there, saying that they're hopeful that the Supreme Court hears their plea tonight itself. Whether that happens or not, we'll perhaps know in some time from now. Meanwhile, Arvind Kejriwal continues to be inside his residence. He has not been taken out just yet by the ED. They're likely to take him straight to the ED headquarters in a few minutes from now. Meanwhile, we can see now more information flashing there on our screens. Okay, more reactions also coming in before I go across to Rishabh Gulati.
अभी जो आज पूरा सब कुछ हुआ, ईडी यहाँ पर पहुंची और फोर्स काफ़ी है, अब काफ़ी वक्त भी बीत रहा है, इस पूरे मसले पर सबसे पहले आपकी प्रतिक्रिया क्या है?
देखिए, मैं समझता हूँ कि बीजेपी लोकतंत्र का कत्ल देश में करने लगी हुई है और अरविंद केजरीवाल जी आम आदमी पार्टी देश की राजनीति को बदलने के लिए निकले हैं शिक्षा और सेहत सहूलतों के जरिए। लेकिन जिस तरीके का डर, व्यापक डर आज बीजेपी और केंद्र सरकार के मन में दिख रहा है अरविंद केजरीवाल जी और आम आदमी पार्टी की लोकप्रियता को देखते हुए, उसकी वजह से इन्होंने आज ये असंवैधानिक, गैर संवैधानिक इल्लीगल एक्ट इन्होंने किया है कि अरविंद जी के घर पे रेड किया है। इसके बावजूद कि कोर्ट के ऑर्डर्स हैं कि 22 तारीख तक ईडी को जवाब देना है। मैं समझता हूं कि बीजेपी को, केंद्र सरकार को इसका मुंह तोड़ जवाब सारे का सारा देश इन लोकसभा इलेक्शन में जरूर देगा।
क्योंकि बीजेपी लगातार
All right, so our reactions, of course, continuing on this story. Meanwhile, Rishabh, also news coming in. Delhi has been put on alert tomorrow. Senior police officers are being given instructions to maintain vigil tomorrow. The national capital has been put on a state of alert after the chief minister's arrest.
Yeah, I mean that's precaution that the Delhi police has to put in place. They have to do Section 144 around outside his house in civil lines. You have to make sure. But again, it depends on what the next move is. Is the next move a purely legal move? Okay. Or is the next move a political move? All you're seeing are reactions, and let's do simple cleaving of the chaff and the hay. The Election Commission of India does not have any powers to arrest or to quash an arrest. So let's not confuse. Election Commission of India has no role on this. Okay, so I mean that's a statement that you can make politically, but the Election Commission of India has no powers on these matters. The only authority that has powers is an appellate authority, which is the court legal system, and at the senior highest appellate court is the Supreme Court of India. Okay, so the Election Commission of India does not, on issues of corruption and investigation by the Enforcement Directorate, either order an arrest or can order the Enforcement Directorate that release this person. Okay, they can't do that. The courts can. Okay, so let's end that point on that point over here. What the courts will do is at the discretion of the court. Okay, I can think of no law or statute that exists, not necessarily some precedent. There will be legal luminaries who will know this better than me, in which the courts have said that an arrest cannot take place during an election cycle, will go on for 3 or 4 months. Okay, so I can think of no statute that exists. So no law exists that you cannot arrest a political party leader, or indeed a chief minister or a minister or a MLA or an MP, because an election has been announced. So there's no law that exists like that. Okay, but it is at the discretion of the court to make a decision and to consider whatever factors they choose to consider while making the decision. Okay, if it is a life and death matter, the CGI can ask the registrar to list it right now and hear it in 10 minutes. Is it a life and death matter, that if will somebody die tomorrow morning if a decision is not taken in the next 1 hour? I don't know. Okay, and we'll find out. So far we don't seem to have any updates whether indeed they've gone to the registrar. They said they moved the motion for an urgent hearing. Whether that's for tonight, whether it's for tomorrow, we don't know. There's a lot of fog in the air right now because this thing is still developing. Okay, you've seen the Congress party leaders arrive there and make a soundbite and subsequently leave. Okay, whether they are now going to ask their supporters and cadres to also show up and make a show of it, I don't know. But they're both talking in one voice for sure, more so than we've seen before. So the Aam Aadmi Party is talking about the Congress bank issues, and the Congress is talking about, of course, Arvind Kejriwal. So a lot of fascinating things are about to take place, but it now depends. As I mentioned, the ED has made its move. The BJP is keeping stone quiet on this. I'm assuming at some point of time they'll come and make a press statement, and the press statement, you can predict it. The press statement will be, the Enforcement Directorate is taking charges against Arvind Kejriwal. It's for them to answer, okay, against very serious charges that are being raised. We have no business in it. Let the Aam Aadmi Party defend itself, and let Arvind Kejriwal defend himself in a court of law. What else can the BJP do? Okay, so it's very predictable what they are going to say. On the political front, the BJP right now has to stay clear of it. At some point of time, you can come in, and do counter rallies and call Kejriwal corrupt and the Aam Aadmi corrupt. But does the BJP want a street war right now, that if the Aam Aadmi Party is protesting in Arvind Kejriwal in favor of him, that you're going to show up right at his residence? I don't know. Okay, we'll find out. So they are also going to have to make a political strategy of this. Aam Aadmi Party is going to have to make a political strategy of this, whether they want to solely go on the legal route. Okay, and when and if they get bail, come and claim vindication. So claim persecution vindication without doing any popular mobilization. Uday, you remember Rahul Gandhi has faced several rounds of questioning as well. I remember it was in the Tughlaq Road station. He was taken there. At that point of time, the Congress party chose to go through the legal route. There were very minor traffic disruptions, very minor protests. There was no large-scale mobilization at that point of time in the National Herald's case. There was none. Whether they were unable to mobilize or did not want to mobilize depends on which political realm you lie on, and you can think whatever you want. But there was, bottom line, no large-scale mobilization. It was a minor inconvenience for a couple of hours of a slight traffic jam around Tughlaq Road. That's about it. Okay. Now Rahul Gandhi did get bail. Okay. Now technically Rahul Gandhi has been convicted, lost his Lok Sabha seat, then had an overturning and been reinstated in the Lok Sabha seat, and there was no mass mobilization by any political parties, let alone as these indie allies in his favor or against him. Okay, so the Aam Aadmi Party has a choice before it: legal route, political route, or both. Okay, and every single other political party has to now make a judgment call. Are we coming around on this cause? Because what if it's true? What if it is there is some smoke and fire, and then you get caught coming out in favor? Is it the same awkwardness of having to sit with Lalu Yadav right now, who's convicted on corruption? Fascinating developments are taking place. Remember, if you're an Aam Aadmi Party supporter, you are convinced this man is innocent. Okay, how far are your party bosses asking you to go in terms of the political battle? Very interesting.
Absolutely. We will have to wait and watch how the political aspect of this story develops. But let's quickly go back across to Manohar Kesri on ground. Manohar, what's the scenario there? Are people of the Aam Aadmi Party workers continuing to reach there currently? Any word as to in how much time Arvind Kejriwal will be taken by the ED officials? They've that area is ready where they will whisk him away from. That gate has of course been barricaded now, but do we know in how much time he will be departing?
एरिया को खाली करा दिया गया है और कई लोगों को डिटेन करके ले जाया जा चुका है। अगर आपको यहाँ का नजारा दिखाने के लिए आप देखिए, ये अरविंद केजरीवाल का जो फ्लैग स्टाफ रोड है उसके साथ साथ ये सड़क गई हुई है, इसको पूरी तरह से बंद कर दिया गया है। यहाँ पर पैरामिलिट्री फोर्सेस लोगों को हटा दिया गया था। हालांकि अभी जो कांग्रेस के प्रदेश अध्यक्ष हैं अरविंद सिंह लवली और सुभाष शुक्ला जो पूर्व अध्यक्ष है संदीप दीक्षित जो पूर्व सांसद रहे हैं और लगातार आम आदमी पार्टी के खिलाफ जो है तो वो बोलते भी नजर आए हैं, वो यहाँ पर पहुंचे हुए हैं और आम आदमी पार्टी को सपोर्ट किया है, क्योंकि राहुल गांधी ने कुछ देर पहले ट्वीट किया, शरद पवार ने भी ट्वीट किया है। लगातार अरविंद केजरीवाल के समर्थन में इंडिया ब्लॉक की जो भी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज हैं वो सपोर्ट करते नजर आ रहे हैं और कह रहे हैं कि केंद्र सरकार मोदी सरकार की जानना चाहिए है।
मनोहर, मैं आपके पास वापस से लौटूंगा। थोड़ी मेरे ख्याल से ऑडियो में दिक्कत है, मगर हम देख पा रहे हैं वहाँ काफ़ी हलचल है अभी इस वक्त भी। मेरे ख्याल से कार्यकर्ता हैं वहाँ, पुलिस है आपके आसपास, वहाँ हम आपके पास लौटेंगे। Let me bring in Priya Sehgal as well onto the broadcast at this point, editorial director of NewsX, who's also joining us. Priya, fast-paced political developments playing out this Thursday evening with Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal now being formally arrested. He is still at his residence. The ED perhaps will be taking him in a short while from now to the headquarters. The Aam Aadmi Party plans to challenge this tonight itself. But politically, Priya, how do you view this arrest and the optics now that we'll be seeing in the next 24 to 48 hours?
Uday, I'm glad you asked me the political question because legally, of course, the case is there. And, I'm told that the court itself had given the go-ahead for the arrest when the ED went and spoke to the court in terms of the various summons that have been ignored by Arvind Kejriwal. But politically speaking, the message is stunning. Chief Minister and opposition Chief Minister arrested in the middle of the night, literally from his house, picked up. He's the second sitting Chief Minister to be arrested by this, under this Modi dispensation. The messaging that is there is that is pretty dire. We've been hearing the opposition talk about how the ED and the CBI is being misused by this government. This is going to just lend force to the optics. Quibble over the case, the legalities of the case, but politically, here's a political opponent being picked up. We don't see any of the BJP's allies being picked up. There are cases against, numerous number of people. When you want to find the cases, there. They're only finding cases against their political opponents. They're picking them up in the middle at night or those who are sitting in office. And we've seen the India Alliance come together in support. So, in terms of opposition unity, even the Congress that Sandeep Dikshit, whose mother was defeated by Kejriwal, was there. Right now, we heard him speak out in defense of the Chief Minister. So optics-wise, I think in terms of the India Alliance, this is they're showing strength. They're coming out in numbers because also, we saw Akhilesh and Rahul Gandhi give a statement. The message has been sent down the ranks. I remember the Prime Minister saying on the floor of the House, it is the ED that will unite the opposition. That's exactly what we see, which is happening over here on our TV screens and, post Arvind Kejriwal's arrest. He is going to be in for a long haul. He's going to be running his, remaining chief ministers, what Aam Aadmi people are telling us, also running the state from the prison. I don't know how that's going to work out. But optics-wise, the victim card, that is something Kejriwal is very good at playing and good at, spin doctoring. If anybody who can beat the Prime Minister at my headline posturing, it is Kejriwal. So it's going to be a very interesting next 2 weeks to follow, really, Uday.
Absolutely. And clearly, of course, we are seeing the India Alliance, leaders arrive there. The Congress party, of course, was first to arrive. We'll have to wait and watch as to whether more join in tomorrow. Protests being planned by the Aam Aadmi Party tomorrow itself. But I can see more guests now joining us. Deshrata Nigam is also with us, political analyst and advocate. Mr. Nigam, you were there with us earlier. Now, formally, Arvind Kejriwal being arrested. What are the ramifications of this? So far, no big BJP reaction on this. Interestingly, the Aam Aadmi Party, though, claiming sympathy, they say this is vendetta and they plan to, take to the streets in protest of it. But as far as also the legalities is concerned, Mr. Nigam, because you're a lawyer, what happens next? I believe Arvind Kejriwal's team is on its way to the registrar's office, perhaps knocking at the door right now itself to have this heard tonight itself.
Well, Uday, let me make it very clear. An early hearing in the Supreme Court is a preventive step to prevent an arrest, but that arrest has already taken place.
It's happened now, yes.
He will be produced within 24 hours in a trial court, the specialized court that you have. And there the ED will ask for his remand. And Supreme Court cannot bypass that procedure. Please understand that. So I have my doubts whether he'll be given any remedy. Maybe it will be listed tomorrow and notice may be issued. But the fact is no bail at this stage because everything will be seen by the trial court. If trial court rejects, then you have the higher courts to apply for and challenge the remand order. So that preventive stuff is far from over now. And secondly, this has happened after K. Kavita's arrest. And from there, the 100 crores have gone from that party to the Arvind Kejriwal or his associates who are behind the bars. So there may be a clear possibility. There may be a clear possibility that K. Kavita Rao may become an approver. There is a clear possibility if she becomes an approver, then all hells will break loose on Arvind Kejriwal. Believe me, it will become already the one approver is already there from where the trails have been established. And Supreme Court, a 3 judges bench clearly said prima facie they see a trail of 338 crores. So there has been a prima facie observation already because of which the others have been denied bail. And similar conspiracy and other things have also been there, and the retrieval from various cell phones and the material which has been retrieved is also there. So things are quite difficult, and if some accused again become approver, then there'll be very difficult things in store for the Aam Aadmi Party and their other leaders. Yes, politically speaking, they may try to take some advantage out of it, but we'll have to wait and see. And if that happens, it will lead to a triangular contest in places where there is no understanding between the Indic alliances, between Aam Aadmi Party or not, or will Aam Aadmi Party in those places cut votes from the opposition? That's a very mute question to be answered.
Political analyst also live with us at this point. Abhishek, Arvind Kejriwal being arrested this evening by the Enforcement Directorate. It's a big political story of the day. In fact, it will be perhaps the big political story of the week itself because elections are around the corner. How do you see this playing out politically for you? What do you make of the Congress actually come on ground to support the AAP to actually visit the Delhi CM's residence late this evening?
Well, look, I'm an advocate, so I'll just address the legalities of the case first. I think the most explosive revelation of the day for me was actually that P. Sarath Reddy, who is a member of the South Lobby, has donated 5 crores to the BJP. Now, P. Sarath Reddy is an associate of K. Kavita, part of the South Lobby. He has been investigated by the ED. He is currently turned approver in the case. Deshrata Nigam, I think, was alluding to him as the approver. Now, you have somebody who is being investigated by the ED with the right hand, and then you have the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is taking 5 crores from this person, who is the kingpin of the liquor scam with the left hand.